Dublin City Council has been working with the Council of Europe Intercultural Cities project since its inception in 2007. With a uniquely organic approach to integration and interculturalism, the City Council developed a collaborative strategy on integration formally adopted by the Council in 2008. It has worked with and supported a number of institutions, organisations and individuals on a whole portfolio over the last 7 years, while liaising with the many intercultural cities across Europe and further afield.
Dublin City Council is a really active promoter of getting everybody involved because it's part of the strength of the city. We know from the businesses that want to set up here, including people who want to start businesses, but also big companies that want to come here, they want a diverse workforce. Of Google's more than 3,000 staff, only 20% are Irish, and they have their European, Middle East and African headquarters here, so it's really important for businesses to attract people from all over different parts of the world to come to Dublin to work. And that means the city has to be a good place to live, it has to be inclusive, and has to build on the strengths of everyone who is here. As you know as well, the City Council and the Integration Office work really hard to promote lots of cultural events. The Chinese New Year Festival, for example, in Dublin is Europe's biggest. It's a 2-week New Year festival. It's bigger than the 31st of December one. And the Russian Spring Festival is a 1-week festival. We just had Nowruz, the kind of Persian festival, and for people from surrounding countries there.
Dublin has been famous throughout the Intercultural Cities Network with a very strong commitment of its politicians, its successive mayors and the administration to policies for diversity advantage or managing diversity in a positive way. And in particular, political rights of migrants, the right to vote at the local level, have facilitated this very much. But what we mostly associate Dublin with is what we call organic interculturalism, is empowering the grassroots, the organizations, the professionals, the individuals to come up with ideas and connecting them together in order to reinforce their message, to reinforce their work and make an impact.
Culture has been the most important area that has nourished and encouraged the intercultural ethos to grow. Festivals, celebrations of national and calendar events, and unique commemorations have all been supported as places and spaces where people from different backgrounds can gather and learn from each other. Museums, galleries and libraries are all significant institutions that play a part in this work.
Museums are neutral spaces, or they can tend to be neutral spaces and safe places for people to come together. As our director today earlier mentioned, museums can be places like a forum. In ancient times, in ancient Rome, temples were seen as forums for people to gather together, and museums can play a similar role where we can invite and engage our diverse communities in a safe place where they can share as well as commence dialogue with each other and with our more settled audiences through our programs such as art workshops, workshops for teenagers, films, lectures. Again, these are all safe entities that can kickstart that much needed intercultural dialogue in Irish museums.
Unique cultural spaces have also emerged and evolved into leading places that are creating new and exciting projects and connections.
First of all, the whole idea of the Centre for Creative Practices was born from the fact that we've been meeting so many artists from various communities, but there was no a dedicated space in the city to give them hands-on experience, to allow them to present their work, to reach out to wider audiences and share what they brought with them. We are now the first place in Europe which integrates, promotes, mentors and gives visibility to migrant artists in the city.
One City, One People, launched in 2010, is run annually to promote inclusion, integration and to combat racism and discrimination. The campaign will use a variety of mediums to promote the message that Dublin is an open city, a city which respects and embraces difference, is accessible, safe and equal, and does not accept racism and discrimination. A special project in this was the One City Transport campaign that linked with the Immigrant Council of Ireland and all the transport companies to combat racism and discrimination on board public transport. This has been running since 2012.
The campaign originated from some anecdotal small research that we did where passengers and employees were reporting incidents of racism in the transport context. The transport providers and Dublin City Council got together and they agreed to make it a racism-free zone. And basically the campaign, it's very a substantial campaign. It consists of internal training for employees and then a support mechanism, stopracism.ie at the Immigrant Council. And so basically people were trained and there's an opportunity if you witness or experience racial abuse that you can report it, but also those that experience this can get support.
A migrant voters campaign has also been a unique project in Europe in educating and encouraging migrants to vote in the local elections in Dublin.
I want to start with a very positive point. We're in a very unusual situation in Ireland in terms of local elections, in terms of the openness of our process to the migrant community. You only have to be resident in the country for 6 months and you get the right to vote in local elections. We are the most liberal in Europe. The average in many other European countries where migrants are allowed to vote is somewhere between 2 to 5 years residency. So it's a wonderful opportunity that Ireland makes available to the migrant community.
Voting in local elections, if you're not an Irish citizen, is a great way to participate in the city and how the city is shaped. It's one part of becoming engaged, and the key to having a strong city is to have a diverse city and vibrant city, but one that everyone plays their part. So being able to vote and registering to vote and knowing how to do it and getting the information and the encouragement to do it is a big part of that.
The most substantial work has been with migrant groups themselves and the changes and developments that they have seen over the last 2 decades.
I work with Akido, the network of migrant women in Ireland, and actually where our office is based, over half of the population there would be from the migrant community. There are few challenges which are facing them. The whole issue of racism and discrimination is still there, but I think organizations and groups, and in particular Dublin City Council, have tried to combat that through the integration programs. Other issues, like access to jobs or employment are there, and they face a migrant community specifically in particular, but talking about attractive cities that has been actually done for the rights of the Dublin City Council, and what we've been discussing in several meetings about migrant entrepreneurship might actually help this problem, because the people don't have actually only to engage in employment, they could start their own enterprises, and those enterprises help them and their families as well.
In 2014, we began a new project with Intercultural Cities called Delhi, Diversity in the Economy and Local Integration. Migrants engaged in business and entrepreneurship is an area where real change and growth is being recognised and is a leading theme for interculturalism and diversity advantage in the future. A number of migrant entrepreneurs are getting more involved and developing important networking and connections that will advance this whole theme. One group came together and called themselves Brain Gain.
Akido itself came up with it 6 years ago. Basically, it's looking around the issues, the challenges that the migrants are having, both professionally and the entrepreneurs who are in Ireland. I think if Delhi would be able to have a platform where we have both migrants and the indigenous Irish people, then we can be able together as a round table discuss the issues, because chances are it's not just for migrants, it could be across the board. So if we have a platform where we are all integrated and involved in this, share the challenges, but also partner in businesses. There's some businesses which are very easy in partnering and also helping each other, whether it's in procurement, whether it is in marketing, whether it is in advice and all that.
These are just a taste of the many projects taking place in Dublin, a city on the western edge of Europe, but that is playing an important part in organically developing interculturalism and diversity advantage with the help of Council of Europe Intercultural Cities project.
It's important to remember that managing diversity is not a luxury. Is an absolute condition for ensuring coexistence and development in the future.